Good evening. No. Uh, Welcome back. We're at part three. Oh, I'm sorry, we're at part four of this week's New Comics, bitches! Yeah! Arr. You can see the muscles that I'm making underneath the sweater right now. I mean, it's like, no, it's really not. It's very pathetic. Anyway, okay, so on to my top two books of the week here. And this is one of them. That's number four, Frankenstein, Agent of S.H.A.D.E, Fear of a Monster Planet. And J.G. Jones, love his covers for this book. You know, Jeff Lemire, however you pronounce his name. This is a book that I enjoy a lot more than I thought I was going to. I came into it with just kind of like, yeah, this is, be kind of cool, whatever, Frankenstein, monster, kind of the, an interesting take on the movie monsters. You got a mummy and a werewolf and a vampire, and kind of creature from the Brock Lagoon type of, but they all, but they all have these kind of, some very, very human emotions and very human traits, and this was certainly the only DC comic from this week that really kind of blew me away. Like, wow, this is really, really good stuff, and it's extremely well paced. It's fun, it's exciting. It was, it's really well done. I mean, the creative forces here, Lemire and Alberto Ponticelli as the artists. I mean, they work really, really well together. And just the characters, I mean, the whole toy box thing, wow, I mean, that was so awesome. It's like, what a great concept. And, to have Ray Palmer be, involved in this somewhere, and, got just these, different, all these different characters and very different personas and so on and so forth. It's just really interesting. And, I'm really enjoying it. Really, really enjoying this book a lot. So I'm very happy that, Frankie's kind of getting his due here. And all these different characters. I mean, they're just all so interesting. And I'm glad that there's a book like this out there that's weird enough to be on the outskirts, but it's it's still really cool and really well done and pretty easily relatable. And it's not it's not hard to follow. So that's, to me, is very important with a new book like this, where it's like, well, here's new characters for you, but you get to understand them because this is like it's a #1 issue, and it's a brand new series. So that's where So that was a 4.5 out of 5, easy, really, really good stuff. And then we're gonna wrap it up here with my big pick of the week, which, if you know what came out this week, this should be no surprise to you whatsoever. And that is Severed #5. Again, I mean, just look at this cover. I mean, really, just look at it. If you can tell nothing else about this book, you can tell how cool it is from the cover. It's such a disturbing book from so many angles. That's the thing about it, is that there's, no matter how domestic or how calm things might be, there's never a moment when you're with the killer, certainly, that you feel at ease. There is danger around every corner, whether it's, human or otherwise, but Snyder and Scott Tuft do an exceptional job at making you feel very, very, very unsettled. You don't really know what's happening. And, you know, so you get these kind of, you know, these domestic moments between, you know, this, you know, between Jack Brakeman and, you know, and the killer. And it seems like, well, at the moment, and then all of a sudden it just turns really dark. And it's, you know, the moment with the child prostitute and the pimp. I mean, it's really just it's horrifying. I mean, it really is. I mean, it's so freaky and disturbing, and just like, I mean, you feel like you need to wash yourself after it's done. I mean, there's such a sense of purpose in telling this tale, because it really is, you know, the whole book itself it seems very reflective of a young child's nightmare, someone who is around this age. And, you know, and also giving Jack this really strong sense of purpose of finding his father, because he feels like, well, this is really the only person that I can identify with, because I'm a musician, my father's a musician, you know, this is what's going on here. And it just, I mean, like I said, I mean, the whole book just feels like, hey, I mean, it's taking, you know, this young man out of his element, putting him in these really unfamiliar situations, giving him friends, and then taking them away like they did in the last issue, like I said, which was so incredibly powerful. This one's really close, and it is, you know, but it's creepier than the previous issue. But it's, you know, it doesn't have that same, I shouldn't say it's certainly not the same, certainly, you know, let me just put it to you this way. The book is fucking awesome. I mean, it's just great. It didn't have the same emotional impact, as far as from a personal standpoint, you know, because I'd really come to like the character of Sam, and thought that her and Jack together were, you know, just really sweet. It was this, you know, this really sweet reflection on youth and friendship, and, you know, burgeoning love, and, you know, those first times you feel those things, and then to have her taken away in such a horrible way in the previous issue was really quite shocking. And, you know, and now Jack is all alone with her killer, with the villain of this book, that he still thinks, well, at the end of the book is maybe starting to think, well, this is maybe not as, you know, benign of a person as, you know, we think. And, you know, obviously the stuff with the bear trap in issue 3 and everything like that. I mean, it's just, it's such an incredibly unnerving read. This is horror at its absolute best. This is horror comic storytelling at its absolute best. It doesn't get really any better than this. So this, you know, so that's Severed as a whole is becoming easily one of the best series of, you know, this, you know, of these past 12 months here, you know, and just of the years, you know. I mean, so many, you know, issues of this comic have been my picks of the week. So, I mean, Scott Snyder, you know, just keeps doing it, man. I mean, you know, and, you know, with the help of, you know, Attila Futaki and, you know, Scott Tufts that he's co-writing it with, it's just, it's absolutely marvelous. It's just excellent storytelling. So that's it for comic reviews this week. New Comics Bitches is down, and we're down for the holidays. So first of all, I want to thank all of you who saw, you know, who watched and commented on my anniversary vlog. You know, I want to thank all of you who responded to it, had your kind words. It meant a lot to me, you know, just coming from where I was coming from. There was a little bit of an addendum I did want to throw onto that, and that was my mother never, she always supported my comic book reading. And I think that's one of the other reasons that this whole idea was really born. I mean, even my love of comics was born out of her. I mean, she would bring me home random comics, you know, just every once in a while. She would, you know, bring, you know, she would stop at the drugstore when they used to sell comic books, and she would grab a couple off the rack there, and, you know, the old spinning racks of comics, and, you know, say, you know, here you go, kid. You know, here's a couple of comic books for you, you know. And she knew that I liked Batman and I liked Spider-Man, and she would get me Superman, she would get Captain America and this and that. And I remember that I always used to give her, when I was, you know, I was a little kid, you know, because my mom, she had kind of a bad back, so I would get on my back and I would lay back and I would be reading a comic book, and I would actually be reading it aloud to her, and I would give her, like, you know, I would put my feet on her back and rub her back with my little feet, and I would be reading the comic book to her, and I'd be, you know, doing voices and, you know, just kind of reading it in this, you know, in a little kid, you know, a young kid kind of way. And, you know, she would always be the one that would be on the lookout for, you know, a new comic store opened up, you know, not too far away. Do you want to go? And, you know, she would always, you know, and she would take me, and then, you know, she would end up taking me every week when I was, you know, started kind of recollecting comics back in, you know, when I started really kind of starting to collect comics in the late 80s. And then, you know, when I kind of got out on my own, you know, and when I started going back again, but you know, ultimately my comic reading I owe to my mother, because she enjoyed it when I read the comic books to her. When she didn't care what was going on, she just liked, you know, having the time with me, and I liked being with her. And I would, you know, and even in recent years, I would sit down with her and I would tell her about this book that I've been reading, you know, this great comic that I've been reading, this, you know, really good series, this really, really interesting stuff. And she would sit and she would listen, and she just loved to hear me talk about it and how passionate, you know, I was about it. So, I mean, it's something, you know, I mean, my love of comics is born out of her love for me. So, that's really, you know, I kind of wanted to talk about that in the anniversary vlog that I did, but it's just something that was more kind of a footnote than anything. But that's why, I mean, it really came to me kind of, you know, in recent weeks, that she's the reason that I love comics as much as I do, because she never said, no, that's a bad habit to be in. If there was a comic store in the mall that, you know, because we went to, you know, we would go to this mall or that mall, and there would be a comic shop, and she would just, you know, just like, you know, you don't have to stay with me, just go to the comic shop. You know, if you want to go, you know, go read, and maybe pick out a couple things, we'll buy them, and we'll go home. You'll read them. So, I mean, that's the kind of person that my mother was. So I know this is getting off track, but again, thank you all from the bottom of my heart for all of your, you know, very heartfelt responses to my video, to my anniversary video. And you know what? I mean, as far as the Shadow Gallery is concerned, you know, Facebook me. It's James Donnelly. You're still going to find me there. I'm at Donnelly92274 on Twitter. Subscribe here, come back here, comment here, thumb it up, thumb it down. Let me know what you agree with, what you don't agree with. If you have something that I missed, and usually that's you, Hellas for Blogs, Migs, so I don't even know your name. Your real name, anyway. Anyway, so Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, great Kwanzaa, and much love out to you all out there. This is Shadow Gallery, wishing you a very happy holiday season. Take care. Have a good one. Be safe.